हिजाब के खिलाफ आंदोलन चलाती है वो कल सिखों की पगड़ी पर भी आएगी।
I don't think the BJP.
Rahul, who is a strong advocate of caste consensus, stoked another row with his remark on the need for reservation.
We will think of scrapping reservations when India is a fair place. And India is not a fair place. Now, that creates a problem. Because there are many people who come from the upper castes, right? Who say, look, what have we done wrong? Right? Why are we being punished? And so then you think about increasing dramatically the supply of some of these things.
Rahul Gandhi has launched a series of pointed attacks against the BJP at various events in the US. His trip comes days ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's planned visit to America. With Aishwarya Paliwal, Bureau Report, India Today.
Rahul Gandhi also spoke about scrapping reservation, how the elections in India were allegedly unfair, and also hit out at the BJP and the RSS. Listen in to some more excerpts of Rahul's speech in Virginia.
3 months before the election, our bank accounts were all sealed. Every single bank account of the Congress Party was sealed. No money for advertising, no money for campaign. Bank account band ho gaye. First time. I've myself fought multiple elections, 2004, 2009, assembly. First time in my life, new thing. All the bank accounts are sealed. So he just looked and said, we have no money. And then I looked at him and I said, dekhi jayegi. Dekhte kya hota hai? And that was the spirit we fought the election with. What the RSS is basically saying is that certain states are inferior to other states. Certain languages are inferior to other languages. Certain religions are inferior to other religions. Certain communities are inferior to other communities. This is what the fight is about. We are of the opinion that whether you are from Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, all of you have your history, all of you have your tradition, all of you have your language, and every single one of them is as important as any other one. While I'm in Delhi, some people will, I'm driving in the car, sometimes they make me open the window and they'll say, डर निकल गया, डर नहीं लगता अब डर नहीं लगता, डर गायब हो गया. So, it's interesting to me that BJP ने कितना, मोदी जी ने कितना डर फैलाया.
We will think of scrapping reservations when India is a fair place. And India is not a fair place. Now, that creates a problem. Because there are many people who come from the upper castes, right? Who say, look, what have we done wrong? Right? Why are we being punished? And so then you think about increasing dramatically the supply of some of these things. You think about decentralizing power. You think about involving many more people in the governance of our country, right? You think of opening up, frankly, with all due respect, I don't think any of you are ever going to become Adani or Ambani. And there's a reason for that. You can't. Because those doors are closed. So the answer to people in the general caste is you open those doors.
Mr. Gandhi, you lead the Indy Alliance, which is seen by many as an alternative to the BJP-led NDA government. Looking at the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, your party was not able to agree on seat-sharing policies with your alliance partner, which was Mamata Banerjee's TMC. My question is, if elected, how will you effectively run a government with such a divided coalition that cannot seem to agree on anything except for the removal of Prime Minister Modi?
It's not India Alliance. That's a BJP framing. It's India Alliance.
What's the last word stand for? What does the A stand
Alliance.
for at the end? So wouldn't it be redundant to say India?
No, it's not. Because the whole idea of the alliance was to put across to the people of India that India is being attacked. And it was very successful.
You know, let's spend some time looking at what Rahul Gandhi said in the United States. The government thinks he's out of line, he's giving India a bad name. The opposition and the Congress, of course, think he's fighting a good fight. Joining us on the broadcast right now, I want to welcome, representing the ruling BJP, Pradeep Bhandari. Welcome. Shama Mohammed from the Congress Party, and with us for alternate point of view, I have Abhijit Ayya Mitra, Senior Fellow at the IPCS, and Sanjay Jha, well-known political analyst. I want to take what Rahul Gandhi said about the Sikh community, which has become the latest flashpoint. The fight is about whether a Sikh is going to be allowed to wear his turban in India or a khada. Or, as a Sikh, is he going to be able to go to a Gurdwara? That is what the fight is about. It's not just for him, it's for all religions. Shama Mohammed, I want to start by asking you, who in India, any Sikh, name one person, who's been stopped from going to a Gurdwara, wearing a khada, wearing a turban? Rahul Gandhi says that all this is somehow in jeopardy. I mean, I live in this same country. I know that the Sikh community has problems with this government, and that's a different matter. But who has been stopped from wearing a pagdi, a khada, or going to a Gurdwara?
Okay, Rahul, let's understand the whole speech. It's a metaphor. What he meant is one cannot practice the religion. There is no freedom to practice your religion. For example, Sikh cannot wear a khada, or a Muslim girl cannot wear a hijab when she wants to go to the college. There were various issues when the BJP was ruling Karnataka. We know
let's just stick to the khada, turban, Gurdwara analogy, because Rahul Gandhi says that the fight is about whether Sikhs are going to be allowed to wear turbans, suggesting that there's someone stopping them from wearing turbans or someone stopping people from wearing khadas. As a Sikh, can people go to the Gurdwara? So yes, my question is, who has been stopped from doing this? What is this charge about?
What Rahul Gandhi is trying to say here is also about what happened during the farmer protests. The Sikhs were called Khalistanis. They were called Atangwadi. They were called urban Naxal. A young boy by the name of Subhakar Singh, a Sikh boy, was killed. More than 700 farmers died during the farmer protests. Did Mr. Narendra Modi say a word? Where was he there for our Sikh brothers? I want to know today.
No, so today, that's a different argument. Listen, the fact that some of the union ministers were out of line in how they characterized the farmers who were protesting is a different matter. If Rahul Gandhi had raised that, we would have supported him. The question I'm asking is, Rahul Gandhi says wearing a turban, a khada, and going to a Gurdwara is in danger. That, you know, that can you do this? That is in question. I'm asking you, where is it in question? Who's been stopped from wearing a khada or going to a Gurdwara?
No, what he's trying to say is, if you're going to call a Sikh Khalistani, if you're going to call the urban Naxals, tomorrow you will do this also. How do we know? You know, Sikhs have fought for us. There are a lot of Jawans in the army from the Sikh community. They are the ones who feed us. Punjab feeds the whole of India almost, before, you know, during the Green Revolution, everything. Those people were called Khalistanis. Those people were called urban Naxals. When 700 of them died, why didn't Mr. Narendra Modi go to the Singhu border? Why didn't he say...
You aren't answering my question, Shama Mohammed. Shama Mohammed, you are saying things that Rahul Gandhi didn't say and not explaining what he actually did say. Shama Mohammed, with respect, just listen to my question and try and explain just what... I'm genuinely as perplexed can be. Rahul Gandhi says there's a fight at this moment about whether a Sikh is going to be allowed to wear a turban in India or a khada or not. Or as a Sikh, can he go to a Gurdwara? I'm saying, where is this fight? Which one Sikh has been stopped from wearing a khada, stopped from going to a Gurdwara? Ma'am, I live in this country. It's my job to track the news. Who's been stopped from wearing a khada or going to a Gurdwara?
Rahul, there are instances, he meant the larger thing is there are instances where the Muslim community is lynched. Now, lastly, a poor boy was lynched, you know. Then you have I don't want to take the community name. So you have Christian churches burned down. You have a Stan Swami who did not get a straw. So we have various issues. He's talking about the larger picture. Try to understand what Rahul Gandhi is saying. You cannot practice in this country what you want to, whichever religion you want, except one particular religion. That is what this government is all about. And what he clearly says over here is, I want to ask the minister who did today.
Ma'am, not, you know, ma'am.
Why was he
Shama Mohammed,
When
Shama
700
Mohammed,
of the
many in the
Sikhs
Sikh
died,
community have
when
many
the Sikh
problems with this
community
government.
died,
Of
why-
that, there is no doubt. Not one of them has said that they've been stopped
you have
from
to ask
practicing their
questions.
religion. The only
You
time
have
in
to ask
recent
the
memory
larger
when Sikhs
question.
were
The
attacked
religion
was
is
during the
not about
anti-Sikh
how
riots that
when
happened in the
somebody is called
mid-80s.
a terrorist, when somebody is called a terrorist, when somebody is called a Khalistani, tomorrow they'll say, no, we don't want also the Gurudwaras here. How do you know that?
But who has
Why
said that?
is that?
Who has said
How
that
is
we don't want
that?
Gurdwaras in India? The Prime
That is-
Minister, the Home Minister, the RSS, whenever they speak of how close they are to the Sikh community, how fond they are of the Sikh community.
Okay,
That's
so
all
if
that they
are
say.
part of the Sikh community, why didn't they stand with the Sikh brothers when 700 of them died? Why did the Home Minister, why did the Prime Minister of India condole those deaths? They didn't condole. They were shot at, and they were, see, even if their ministers are called Khalistani, the Prime Minister can come out and say, listen, I do not want anybody calling my Sikh brothers Khalistanis. I don't want anybody calling them urban Naxals. I condole the deaths of the 700 farmers. I feel for
Okay,
them.
so let's
Easier for
pause that
Ukraine,
for a moment.
easier
I
for
know
us
that
to
this was
rectify.
said off camera, but it wasn't said as publicly as it should have. That's a different matter. I want to ask Pradeep Bhandari. Shama Mohammed says, zoom out, look at the larger picture. It's not just the very words that he used. He's trying to make a point that non-Hindu religions aren't given the same space to operate and practice as the Hindu religion is. This BJP government is more about the Hindu faith than it is about Islam and Sikhism.
Rahul, good evening to the viewers of India Today, and thank you so much for having me on your show. Rahul, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is attempting to manufacture divisions and create fault lines in the Indian society which does not exist. Let me just start by quoting the 1984. This is the only time the Sikhs in India feel threatened. This is the testimony of Harsimrat Kaur, a survivor of the anti-Sikh 1984 riots, where Jagdish Tytler, a Congress representative, a senior Congress leader who was the part of AICC, against whom the court has ordered framing of charges, was responsible for inciting riots against the Sikh community. So if I look factually, Rahul, in the recent history, this is the only time when the Sikhs have feel threatened. Now, I want to put forward the intent of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government. For 70 years, the Sikhs were waiting for Veer Balidan Divas to be honored, the four Sahibzadas to be honored. It was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government which ensured it happened. The Kartarpur corridor was opened by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It took 70 years for it to happen. In Afghanistan, if you remember how our Sikh brothers were brought in. So the intent of the Prime Minister has been laid clear in the policy decisions, in his statements, and not once has the Prime Minister made a statement against our Sikh brothers. In fact, he has honored the valor of the Sikh brothers in supreme sacrifice for our country. My issue, Rahul, is, and my charge here is, number one, that Mr. Gandhi is trying to create a fault line. It's just not to do with the Sikh brothers. It is also to create a linguistic fault line. And I want to quote Mr. Rahul Gandhi when he says that India is not one entity and is consistently engaged in an intense linguistic war. Please tell me, Rahul, where is the linguistic war going on? My memory tells me the only linguistic war which was going on when Mr. Rahul Gandhi called the people, the residents of non-Jammu and Kashmir, as outsiders, when Charanjit Singh Channi from Punjab called the people of UP, Bihar and asked them not to enter, and Priyanka Vadra was there. And in Karnataka, when the Congress party tried to impose 100% reservation for the Kannadigas, and it was taken back.
Okay, so just one second. Sanjay Jha, Rahul Gandhi has been attacking this government. He's often in the past also known to have fired a few blank shells, right, where he fires, the round misfires. Do you think this is a case of an attack misfiring? Because if, for example, he'd said something about, Muslims feeling persecuted and they're not being allowed to practice their religion, or they feel this way, that's a different matter. He cites mob lynching, cow vigilantism. Those are valid attacks. When he says Sikhs are being stopped from going into gurdwaras, that they're being stopped from wearing khadas or wearing turbans, everybody's scratching their head and saying, who is he talking about? I mean, given the fraught relationship his family and his party have had with the Sikh community, what do you make of the attack and the location where this was delivered?
Rahul, first and foremost, I think the Congress party needs to be, shall we say, I won't say congratulated, but they need to be admired for standing up for the Sikh community after the horrific 1984, the entire ugly configuration that happened. And I think that has to be strongly condemned. But in appointing Dr. Manmohan Singh, which was a choice that the Congress party made, I think it was a great act of redemption. But I need to answer your question because it is an important question. I personally feel Rahul Gandhi should have kept it at the religious persecution of the minorities across the board. Shama is right that the government of Mr. Modi calling all kinds of extremely, I would say, contemptible, outrageous and insulting remarks on protesting farmers told you that their entire approach ideologically to the Sikh community was extremely disparaging. And I think to that extent, Shama is absolutely right.
Now, let me ask you a very specific question because I'm getting a very whataboutery type answer. The question is very simple. The fight is about whether a Sikh is going to be allowed to wear a turban in India or a khada, or he as a Sikh, is he going to be allowed to go to a Gurdwara? That is what the fight is about. Can you tell me any Sikh that you know of who's been stopped from going to Gurdwaras or stopped from wearing turbans or wearing khadas? Do you think this comment is right or is it wrong? Just respond to this question, Sanjay Jha.
Rahul, I'm going to basically take the bull by the horns. The truth is that if you read Rahul Gandhi's statement, it is talking not about what is, it is talking about what is potentially possible in a country where polarized politics is assuming a very monstrous form. I mean, his basic premise of his statement is not that today a Sikh is not allowed to go to a Gurudwara or he's not allowed to wear any other religious symbol. He's saying that because India is becoming highly intolerant, where there seems to be a majoritarian sentiment that is sold day in and night out by the political powerful warlords of the BJP, are you going to shift the minorities into a corner where they will not be able to live their life in the manner in which they do? I think the larger import that I would like to add before you move on is even looking at the conversation in the Uniform Civil Code, where you have to indulge in conversations with stakeholders. This government seems to be like, I will railroad anybody.
Okay, hold that thought. I don't want to get derailed with the UCC in this debate. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Sanjay Jha's argument is that he's not talking about what's happening now, but because the charge is that India is becoming intolerant, that a majoritarian sentiment is gaining ground, therefore at some point in time in the future, some Sikh may be stopped from going into a Gurdwara, wearing a khada or wearing a pagdi, which is what Rahul Gandhi is trying to highlight while he's on the United States soil. Do you buy that?
Well, Rahul, he was talking in the present perfect. He wasn't talking in the future tense. Let's be very clear about that. So even as metaphors go, if you're talking about the future tense, then you talk about the future tense, use future tense. You play his clip again. Everything he's saying is present tense as if it's happening right now. Right? This was not metaphorical in any sense of the word. In fact, I've always said this since Rahul hates teleprompters so much. Rahul should be, some wise teleprompter company should take Rahul as their brand mascot for their company because nobody needs a teleprompter more than Rahul. Let us first understand where he has made this speech. In the United States of America, where not just the current serving Indian minister Hardeep Singh Puri, who was at that time a permanent representative to the UN, but also a Canadian cabinet minister, Navneet Bains, were forced to take off their turbans for scanning at airports. Has that ever happened in India? My first cousin is married to a Sikh. Many temples in Kerala and Odisha have this sign outside saying non-Hindus not allowed. Sikhs are never stopped. They are allowed inside the Jagannath temple. They are allowed inside temples in Kerala as well. They are not treated any differently. So you forget Gurdwaras. They are even allowed inside temples. Who is stopping them from doing this? The problem is, if he wanted to talk about dresses, he could have started with the hijab. Okay, there is a hijab controversy going on at the moment. He could have talked about it. No, he specifically takes a state where separatist sentiment is rising at the moment. So this was not a metaphor. This was done very, very deliberately. It was said in the present tense. Grammatically, factually, strategically, everything points to what Rahul absolutely meant what he said. Second, there are some points raised by my dear friend Shama. 700 farmers died during the protest. There is no documentation for this figure, number one. The ones who died, we have it documented on camera. There was the tractor driver. I know your channel got into a bit of controversy because of reporting about it. We saw exactly what happened with that tractor driver when his tractor capsized. On the other hand, we have seen those farm protesters, so-called farm protesters, essentially feudal lords masquerading as farmers coming in Fortuners, going around ransacking the Republic Day celebrations, tearing off the Indian national flag and putting up the Khalsa flag, beating up policemen, In other places, they've hacked off limbs of people for beadabi and God knows what else. They were uprooting telephone poles till they found out it was Canadian-owned and not Reliance-owned. Do I need to even go on with that list? Next, Khalistani, very important. Just one last point, Rahul. Remember, there were many people in that farm protest who were actually waving Khalistani flags. Let me show you a photo right now of Dhindran Wale at the farm protest. Is that Dhindran Wale or is that not? Simple sa sawal hai.
Can just take
let's just hold this
like
one by one.
I'm sorry.
I want to play out Rahul Gandhi's comments so that everybody just listens to it. I played it earlier at the show. We'll play it once more so you can listen to about whether he's saying it about what's happening at this moment in India now, or is he referring to a distinct threat about something that may happen in the future? So listen once again to Rahul Gandhi and then we'll build on the thread of this conversation.
The fight is about whether he, as a Sikh, is going to be allowed to wear his turban in India. Or he, as a Sikh, is going to be allowed to wear a kada in India. Or he, as a Sikh, is going to be able to go to a Gurdwara. That's what the fight is about. And not just for him. For all religions.
Shama Mohammed, he's speaking about what seems to be happening now in his view. Now, as Abhijit Ayya Mitra said, if he'd spoken about hijab, there would have been an actual political punch to deliver, because there have been in states like Karnataka controversy around whether girls can wear a hijab and come to educational institutes or not. That's a point you can actually make. But when it comes to wearing a khada or wearing a pagdi or going to a gurdwara, will you accept that it wasn't delivered? When you're an opposition leader, you have to land your punches, that he flung this punch and everybody's wondering, where is he just flailing around? Do you think this was a misdelivered punch?
No, I do not. He said in the end about all religions. So he just took a viewpoint, because Sikhs have been abused during the farmer protest. And I don't agree with Abhijit Ayya Mitra, who thinks that nobody died in the farmer protest. He's behaving like his favorite MP, Kangana Ranaut, who who says that there were women being raped and things like that. See, the farmer protest happened and people died, and you are an anchor as well as a journalist. You know that more than 500 people have died, Rahul. Will you deny it today on television that they have not died? Because Abhijit Ayya Mitra needs to be taught a lesson today, because he is denying it. Now, let me come to point number 2, is who is the one during the Lok Sabha elections? We know the Supreme Court has given a directive to police that they shouldn't be hate speech. I heard Ghuspetia coming in, they are going to take your wealth. That is what the Prime Minister of India said. And who's the Ghuspetia? Muslims. Then they are going to take your behas to the Congress party, will take your behas and give it to somebody. They will take your Mangal Sutra and give it to somebody. See, remember, these things incite people. They start hating a particular community. Who said during 2017, Khabristan mein jagah hoga, lekin Shamshan Ghat mein there will be you will not get any space for the Shamshan Ghat, but you will get for Khabristan. So he's dividing us on our deathbed, Rahul. Kapde se pata chalta hai kaun hai jo aag jalata hai. From your clothes we understand who will burn this particular thing.
Okay, so let Pradeep Bhandari respond to that.
I also want to play this.
पिछले जन्म में क्या पाप किया हिंदुस्तान बर्बाद हुई है ये कोई देश है ये कोई सरकार है ये कोई लोग है चलो छोड़ो चले जाएंगे
So he's saying Hindustan में जन्म होना पाप है पाप ये कोई लोग है ये कोई देश है Is this
I get the thrust of your argument, and let's put that question to Pradeep Bhandari, because one of the BJP's problems with Rahul Gandhi waxing against the government of the day from abroad is that why is he doing this in the US? Rahul is so anti-national, anti-sanskari. Now there are enough clips of Prime Minister Modi himself in his current capacity, in his previous capacity, talking about all that was wrong with the Indian system while he was abroad. So if Prime Minister Modi can do it, then why not Rahul Gandhi?
Rahul, the difference is that
Mohammed, let him speak.
Difference is,
Okay, Shama, you've spoken. Let Pradeep Bhandari speak. 1 second, please.
The
Yes.
difference is, Rahul, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi does not act like Rahul Gandhi and is not silent, and the BJP is not silent when Omar Abdullah, alliance partner of Rahul Gandhi, bats for a terrorist Afzal Guru. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is absolutely not silent when the rights of Dalits are snatched in Jammu and Kashmir, which was happened for 70 years. The success of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's policy is Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra playing snowball in Jammu and Kashmir, which they could not do in Congress rule. Rahul, no amount of bluster can replace facts, and I just want to quote facts. If the intent of Rahul Gandhi was clear, Rahul, then please tell me when the court on August 2024 directed charges to be filed against Jagdish Leitler, who incited the mob against the Sikhs. Why is Jagdish Leitler still continuing to be in the Congress party? Why is Congress party endorsing a Sikh riotist Jagdish Leitler? And last time I remembered a majoritarian totalitarian regime, which was Indira Gandhi's regime, which had instructed the state to enter the prestigious Golden Temple. Last I remember Rajiv Gandhi saying that a big tree falls, tremors will happen. They had justified the killings of the Sikhs. So if I talk facts, and I'll tell another fact, Rahul. We are with the Constitution of India. Rahul Gandhi just picks it up. What did Rahul Gandhi say in the United States of America? That he can remove reservation in India. And for Shama Mohammed, infiltrators are all Muslims. For us, we have not said that. We've said the word Gusbaitia. But it is unfortunate that Shama Mohammed considers the Muslims of this community as Gusbaitia. She's declared on your show because Prime Minister Narendra Modi never used the word Muslim.
Okay.
He said infiltrators. The Shama Mohammed's psyche, her mindset is that she wants to brand the Muslims as infiltrators to get some votes.
Abhijit Iyer, now there are two things here. One, oftentimes when BJP leaders have gone abroad, and there are more than enough clips to show that, they've attacked the government of the day. So do you accept that it's fair game for Rahul Gandhi to attack the government even though he's abroad, because the BJP seems to be opposing that, not looking at their own past track record? And secondly, Prime Minister Modi goes to the US next in a couple of weeks from now, right? So as that happens, has Rahul Gandhi in some senses gone and set the stage, set the narrative from an opposition lens in the US, because he's in DC, he was in Dallas. So as he does all these events, he's gone and put his perspective, and it's the PM who will have to come and counter that when he comes towards the end of September.
No, I don't. I don't think the BJP doing it is any more forgivable than Rahul Gandhi doing it. I would remind you of a press conference that Indira Gandhi held at the Claridge's during emergency. Post-emergency, when she was out of power, where she was asked several leading questions by, I think it was Dimbleby, if I'm not mistaken, and her one sentence answer was, "I don't criticize my country abroad," and I wish the Janata Party government hadn't done so either. So he's going against what his own grandmother said and did. Congratulations to him. Just to set the record straight.
Speak about Modi.
Sure,
Shama Mohammed, do not interrupt in this fashion. You expect the courtesy to be allowed to complete your comments. Extend the same to Abhijit.
I think it's wrong on both ways. But if he thinks he's preempting Modi, I wish him success for sure. If Modi is forced to respond to the talking points that Rahul has set, though I suspect it's going to be very much different, and Rahul might have to come back to a lot of what Modi has to say abroad. That said, since the point was made that now Shama herself has accepted 700 is down to 500. Shama, can you name 5 of the protesters who died?
Why should I name them?
5
Who are you?
You will not name it.
No. We have Rahul Kanwal sitting here. He is a journalist. Rahul, please tell how many people have died.
No, but we don't know for a fact, because when this question was asked, the numbers that you're quoting, of course nobody died is not correct, right? No, 1 second.
Just 5.
No, 1 second. I think both of those are exaggeration. Of course, people died. Many of them were old and had all kinds of morbidities, and some of them did pass away. But whether they are 500, 700 or far fewer, we don't know for a fact. Now, those are the numbers that have been given by the farmer organizations. The fact also is that the government didn't keep count. So we have that vacuum of data, but that's not the point over here, and I don't want to get caught over
there. And were they killed? Did they die or were they killed? That's a very important thing.
No, they died because they were out in the cold, and some of them had lots of health issues because many of them were old. Okay.
I go hiking and I fall off a cliff.
Sanjay Jha, this is a battle of narratives that's being fought abroad. Prime Minister Modi goes from the 3rd week of September to the United States. He will give the spin is part of what's at play. An attempt by Rahul Gandhi and the Overseas Congress to try and get there before PM Modi does and set the narrative. So it's the PM that has to respond to what the leader of the opposition is saying.
Yeah, Rahul, the pertinent point is that Rahul Gandhi is now there as a leader of the opposition. So technically, he represents over 50% of the people of India. And, it is protocol, right, that the leader of opposition in most democracies are seen and respected like a shadow prime minister. So everything he says has the gravitas to actually get Mr. Modi to respond to it when he visits it. That is, if at all, he holds a press conference, which he hasn't done for the last 10 years. The larger point, Rahul, that I would appreciate that the BJP now needs to grow out of, instead of sounding so immature and, in my opinion, pretty infantile, is that Rahul Gandhi said this abroad. Let me tell the BJP spokesperson, number one, that today when Kamala Harris and Donald Trump have a debate, it's going to be heard not just in the US, it's going to be heard all over the world at the same time. What Rahul Gandhi has said in the United States is no different from what he says in India. I think what bothers them is that Rahul Gandhi is speaking the truth and it is getting huge amplification all over the world. The second point, which is very important, Rahul, and I want to make this point here, is that end of day, Indian politics need not be so fearful and, inhibited that you can't discuss what your issues are. I mean, for God's sake, we out here debate what's wrong with America and what's happening in Ukraine or what's happening in Gaza. People will talk about India. We're a fascinating country. We're a big economy. But people are worried about sectarianism. People are worried about an authoritarian culture.
Pradeep Bhandari, it surely can't be the BJP's expectation that he'll go abroad and start speaking well of this government. I mean, he's the leader of the opposition. He will give the opposition's perspective. And I remember comments made by senior BJP leaders where they spoke of what a mess the Congress had left while they were abroad. I was sitting in the audience listening to them.
Rahul, I hope that the advisors of Rahul Gandhi at least tutor him better, that he knows the full form of the India Alliance. That is point number one. It is not about criticism of the government, Rahul. It is about speaking falsehood against the Sikh community. It is speaking falsehood against the Dalits. It is saying that the Dalits, he will end the reservation for Dalits. That is what he said that he will do at some point or the other. And it is a right to question it. It is about speaking falsehood and saying that India should learn from China, which has an employment surge. But the reality is that China has an unemployment crisis. So you can go and criticize, no problem. But do not speak falsehood about the Sikhs, the Dalits and the Bharat identity. Why is he speaking that there is an imposition of Hindi in Karnataka, Telugu? Why is he trying to manufacture fault lines outside India? Have you heard Mr. Donald Trump, Kamala Harris come in India and speak about domestic issues? I have not come across, and they've not lied about their country. Rahul Gandhi has exactly done that.
Okay, Shama Mohan, is it not better for him to present his version of India or his idea of governance rather than diss the current government? I mean, it does leave an unsavory taste in the mouth.
No, he says one thing is reservations have to be removed. Of course not. He never spoke about that.
He said when there's a fair India, then. When there is a fair.
And also, why is the Prime Minister of India not ready for a caste census? I want you to tell me today, Pradeep Bhandari.
Rahul,
is the Prime Minister of India ready for a caste census?
Himachal, Telangana, they've not released caste census. What are they saying?
He spoke about Kashmir.
Where have they released caste census in one of the Congress ruled states?
Prime Minister.
Have they forgotten what Indira Gandhi said on caste?
Talk about that. Number 3, the Prime Minister of India stands with rapists. He has not even gone to Manipur.
Lie! It's a lie. Do not misquote the Prime Minister. It's Rahul Gandhi who stood with the rapists and not spoken on the RG car. It's Rahul Gandhi who's not spoken on Mohit Khan. It's Rahul Gandhi who's given tickets to
I can't have both guests speaking at the same time. That's not how we run debates.
This Rahul is lying about the Prime Minister. Prime Minister never backed the rapists. He's lying on it.
I didn't interrupt him. Please ask him to keep quiet.
Okay, very quickly. I'm out of time.
Let me finish. Rahul Gandhi goes abroad because there are certain things in this country like hate crimes which is happening. The Supreme Court has told police to take action on hate crimes, but they continue to happen after 11 years. What is happening in Haryana? What happened in Maharashtra? Is this my country? Why is the Prime Minister of India not stopping these things?
This is ultimately a battle of narratives.
Why is there no president's rule in Manipur?
She could not explain the Sikh statement once, Rahul. That tells you how Congress repeatedly lies and manufacture conflicts. That is how Congress tries to earn political opportunistic point. This is why we disagree. You can be a constructive opposition, but do not manufacture false lines in our country.
Okay, I'm out of time. I want to thank our guests. There can be no agreement on this issue. Rahul Gandhi has spoken. The Congress is defending what he's saying. The BJP very naturally trying to find fault with it. You've heard different points of view. Is there a Sikh who's been stopped from going to a Gurdwara or wearing a khada or wearing a pagdi? You know, you and I live in the same country. You can think about this and come to your own conclusion. Coming up on the other side of a very quick break, terror on the tracks conspiracy unravels. Another railway accident averted in Ajmer. Centre says there have been 18 cases of rail sabotage since August. Details on the other side.
Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
एक दोस्त है जिससे बात किए बिना हम रह नहीं सकते। बातें घंटों की हों या कुछ सेकंड्स की। ये दोस्त हमेशा हमारी बात सुनता है, क्योंकि हमारा सबसे अच्छा दोस्त भगवान ही तो है। मंगलदीप, दिल से करो बात भगवान के साथ।
India Today Conclave 2024, September 25th and 26th, Mumbai. Book your seat now. Visit indiatodayconclave.com.
Is there a conspiracy to target the Indian railways? A day after an LPG cylinder and petrol were found on the tracks in Kanpur, another train accident was averted in Ajmer. This time, cement blocks were found on the railway tracks. The Modi government has cited 18 incidents of attempted sabotage since August alone.
September 8th, Ajmer, Rajasthan. September 8th, Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. September the 4th, Solapur, Maharashtra. India's trains are being targeted serially in a sinister bid to derail them and cause death and injuries to passengers. A train in Rajasthan's Ajmer had a close shave after hitting massive cement blocks weighing 70 kilograms, which were put on the tracks. The Rajasthan government has formed a special investigation team to probe the incident.
मुकदमा दर्ज कर लिया गया है 173/24, 150, 152 रेलवे एक्ट और 3 PDP एक्ट में। एसएचओज उच्च अधिकारी मौके पे हैं, बाकी टीमें गठित कर दी गई हैं इन शरारती तत्वों का पता करने के लिए। पता लगते ही शीघ्र गिरफ्तारी भी की जाएगी।
The train fortunately didn't derail despite hitting the cement block.
8 तारीख की रात करीब 10:30 बजे कुछ शरारती तत्वों ने या कहें कि साजिशकर्ताओं ने सीमेंट के बड़े ब्लॉक करीब 70 से 1 टन के बीच के वो ट्रैक के बीच में रख दिया और ट्रेन जो है मालगाड़ी सीधी उनसे टकराई। आप देख सकते हैं कि कुछ टुकड़े जो हैं वो अभी भी यहाँ पर पड़े हुए हैं।
The same modus operandi was used in Solapur on September the 4th when a mammoth concrete slab was placed on the railway tracks. But the loco pilot of the train fortunately saw the concrete and applied brakes in time, thereby averting a collision and saving lives. Meanwhile, an ISIS role was found in the Kanpur train sabotage, where a gas cylinder and petrol bomb were put on the tracks to target the Kalindi Express. A probe is pointing at suspected involvement of the ISIS Khorasan module. Similar attacks on trains were carried out in Madhya Pradesh back in 2017. The Kanpur police has questioned more than 100 suspects so far. At least 30 suspects have been taken into custody. The government came out with data revealing that 18 cases of train sabotage have taken place since August the 1st and 24 train attacks in just 2 years.
अभी तक कांग्रेस की जुबान नहीं खुली है। राहुल गांधी न कालिंदी एक्सप्रेस पर बोल पाए हैं और न पीछे के रेल दुर्घटना पर बोले हैं। मेरा आरोप फिर है कि राहुल गांधी कांग्रेस का क्यों नहीं जवाब आ रहा है? क्या कांग्रेस का ही टूल किट काम कर रहा है?
The Congress and Samajwadi Party, however, have trained their guns on the BJP government, calling it a huge failure.
लगातार ट्रेन की पटरी पे घटनाएं हो रही हैं और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार पूरी तरीके से असफल है इन घटनाओं को रोकने के लिए। इन घटनाओं को रोकने के लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार को कठोर कदम उठाने चाहिए। जो एजेंसियां हैं उनको अपना काम करना चाहिए।
आतंकी घटना की साजिश की जांच होनी चाहिए, इसमें कहीं कोई दो राय नहीं, लेकिन आतंकवाद पर जिस तरीके का विलाप भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार अपनी नाकामियों को छुपाने के लिए कर रही है, वो एक शोचनीय विषय है।
Are terror groups trying to bleed India now using trains used by lakhs of passengers daily? With Simar Chawla in Kanpur and Chandrasekhar in Ajmer, Bureau Report, India Today.
1 month on, the fight for justice for Abhaya continues. Protesting doctors at the RG Kar Medical College in Kolkata are yet to report to duty. This despite the Supreme Court setting a deadline of 5 p.m. for them to return to work. The doctors are adamant they want the health secretary sacked. Will this doctors versus Mamata government showdown end or escalate? Take a look at this report.
It was exactly a month ago when 31-year-old trainee Dr. Abhaya was raped and murdered at Kolkata's RG Kar Medical College. Over 30 days later, the fight for justice for Abhaya is still going on. Junior doctors marched to the Swasthya Bhavan on Tuesday. They are demanding that the Bengal Health Secretary be sacked by the Mamata government. A fresh doctors versus Mamata government flashpoint is escalating. After the Bengal government told the Supreme Court on Monday that at least 23 people lost their lives due to the doctors' strike.
Well, we've also filed the report of the State Health Department. Well, they've not gone back to work, the doctors. Well, 23 people have died in the process.
The West Bengal Junior Doctors Front says patient services are operational in every medical college in the state. They've also accused the state government of spreading falsehoods and misleading the Supreme Court, and have called it a nefarious government effort to tarnish their movement and mislead the massive public support for it. Under fire, the Mamata Banerjee government is also facing flack from Abhaya's parents, who have repeatedly accused the Bengal cops of trying to bribe them, a charge denied by the Chief Minister herself.
কোথাও আমি টাকার কথা বলেছি, মেনশন করেছি। মিথ্যে কথা, কুৎসা, অপপ্রচার, চক্রান্ত। রেসিডেন্সিয়াল ডক্টর ফোরাম একটা অফিসিয়াল স্টেটমেন্ট করেছিল। তার 3 নম্বর পয়েন্টে লেখা ছিল অ্যাডিকুয়েট কম্পেনসেশন টু দ্য ভিকটিমস ফ্যামিলি।
আপনাদের যে ভিডিওটা নিয়ে এখনো বিতর্ক চলছে, সেখানে কিন্তু পুলিশ থেকে এখনো দাবি করা হচ্ছে যেটা তাদের পক্ষ থেকে করা হয়নি। আপনি কি আপনার দাবিতে এখনো নন?
তাদের পক্ষ থেকে করানো হয়নি মানে
পুলিশ করেনি বলছে, পুলিশের তরফ থেকেই
করানো হয়েছে। সেটা আমরা নির্দিষ্ট জায়গায় বলে দিয়েছি, তারা বিচার করে তারা রিপোর্ট দেবে।
একদম মিথ্যে কথা বলেছেন উনি। টাকার অফার তো দেওয়াই হয়েছিল, কিন্তু সেটা তো
মুখ্যমন্ত্রী মিথ্যে কথা বলছেন। উনি তো বলছেন পরিবার টাকা চেয়েছিল, কখনো চাইনি, বরং উনি বলেছিলেন আপনার মেয়ে তো একটা পাবে, ওটা দিয়ে মেয়ের স্মৃতির জন্য কিছু বানিয়ে রাখবেন। আমি বলেছিলাম দিদি তখনই নেব যখন আমার মেয়ে বিচার পাবে এবং দোষীদের সাজা হবে, তখন আমি নিজে গিয়ে আপনার দপ্তর থেকে নিয়ে আসবো।
এটাই উনি বলেছেন যে কোনো টাকার অফার করা হয়নি।
না, টাকার অফার তো অবশ্যই করা হয়েছে।
Meanwhile, the former principal of RG Kor Medical College, who is under CBI arrest on charges of corruption, has been sent to judicial custody till 23rd September. Bureau Report, India Today.
With the festive season round the corner, domestic airfare prices are skyrocketing. While the centre is keeping a close eye, the government maintains there isn't much that can be done. Business Today does a spot check of return fares around Diwali. Here's what we found.
For those planning to fly home for Diwali, get ready to pay out of your nose. The Festival of Lights is more than 7 weeks away, but skyrocketing airfare already dampening the festive mood. A visit to a travel agent or airline website only leaves you with the prospect of coughing up extortionary airfares. Business Today did a spot check of return fare on various routes for the dates Wednesday, October 30th to Sunday, 3rd November. Diwali falls on Friday, 1st November this year. On metro routes, fare on these days were anywhere between 50 to 200% higher. We particularly avoided the red-eye flights. Bengaluru to Delhi return fare start at a whopping 25,000 rupees, while Hyderabad to Delhi were a little more affordable, but at 15,500 rupees. Tickets from Chennai to Delhi and back, however, start at 23,000 rupees. Non-metro routes like Mumbai, Patna, Mumbai, also ludicrously expensive at 30,000 rupees. Mumbai Lucknow return starts at 18,000 rupees. Interestingly, those beginning their holiday earlier on October 26th Saturday have to dish out even more. For this week-long break, Mumbai-Delhi return tickets start at 20,000 rupees, while the cost of Bengaluru-Delhi return ticket rises to 27,000 rupees. Chennai to Delhi tickets for this weekend travel start at 27,500 rupees. The government has taken cognizance of the issue but is unable to do much.
प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हम सीमित नहीं कर सकते, ये ऐसा लॉ नहीं है कि हम उसको एक सीमित रखें, वो मार्केट ड्रिवन चलता है। तो इस तरह जब डिमांड बढ़ जाता है तो उनके वहाँ से भी थोड़ा एक दो बार हो जाता है, पर अभी तक हम मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं कि जब भी अगर कोई ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड प्राइस चला जाए अगर जहाँ पे भी नजर आता है कि कहीं से कुछ ज्यादा ही प्राइस बढ़ रहा है तो उस टाइम मिनिस्ट्री के तरफ से थोड़ा सजेस्टिवली जो करना होगा वो करेंगे।
It's not as if the travelers have other options available. Trains are already booked for the period, waiting list extending into hundreds. Indian Railways will be running some special trains, but the rush is so high that bookings on some route have already been closed. Experts blame the rise in airfare on the changing scenario in the Indian sky. Go Air, a major airline till 2 years ago, has folded wings. SpiceJet is financially strapped. 20-strong fleet of SpiceJet is literally flying on a wing and a prayer. The Indian airspace is now virtually a duopoly with Indigo on one side and the Tata-owned Air India Vistara combined and Air India Express AirAsia India on the other. And the spike in airfare is despite an 18% drop in aviation fuel prices this calendar year. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
This is where we wrap up the news track tonight. For your time and your trust, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye, good night.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Hi, I am AI anchor Sana, bringing the top headlines for you, presented by Motorola. Delhi Minister Atishi slams BJP MLA's letter to President, says wherever BJP doesn't win, it tries to poach MLAs and form a government through back door. Haryana CM Nayab Singh Saini files nomination from Ladwa seat ahead of assembly elections. Supreme Court stays defamation proceedings against Shashi Tharoor over remarks against PM Modi.
सरकार आपकी सत्ता में रही है भारतीय जनता पार्टी की, और निश्चित तौर पर 10 साल तक अगर कोई पार्टी सत्ता में रहती है तो उसके खिलाफ कुछ नाराजगी होती है। आपने भी देखा, महसूस किया होगा, कुछ चैलेंजेस झेल रहे हैं अब की बार?
नहीं, देखिए ऐसा है, हमारी सरकार ने कोई ऐसे गलत काम नहीं किए जिसकी वजह से लोग उनके प्रति कोई अपना गुस्सा दिखाएं, जहां उसकी एंटी इनकम्बेंसी हो। इसके बदले में जो कांग्रेस की एंटी इनकम्बेंसी है वो आज भी बहुत ज्यादा है।
क्षेत्रीय पार्टियों की बात करें, चाहे आईएनएलडी हो, जननायक जनता पार्टी हो, लगता है कि जिस तरह से उनका जनाधार कम हुआ है, लोकसभा चुनावों में 1% से भी नीचे गिर गया इनका मत प्रतिशत, तो आपको लगता है कि अपने वजूद के लिए लोग लड़ रहे हैं और इसी के चलते उन्होंने एक आईएनएलडी ने बसपा से समझौता कर लिया और जजपा ने आजाद समाज पार्टी से कर लिया?
देखिए, क्षेत्रीय पार्टियां लगभग समाप्त हैं। हरियाणा में तो जो चुनाव हो रहा है वो मेन पार्टियों में ही हो रहा है, वो बीजेपी और कांग्रेस में है।
This is part of the ideological fight between the BJP and us, right? The BJP and the RSS believe that women should be restricted to a particular role. They should stay at home, they should cook the food, they should not talk too much, right? And we believe that women should be allowed to aspire to whatever they want to do.
आरएसएस को जानने के लिए राहुल गांधी को कई जन्म लेना पड़ेगा। देशद्रोही कोई आरएसएस को नहीं जान सकता। जो बाहर में जाकर के देश की निंदा करे वो आरएसएस को नहीं जान सकता। राहुल गांधी लगता है भारत को बदनाम करने के लिए ही विदेश जाता।
Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 36 and minimum 27 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 29 and minimum 25 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 32 and minimum 26 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 27 and minimum 20 degrees. Chennai, maximum 35 and minimum 27 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 27 and minimum 22 degrees.
In politics, everyone has an opinion, but I have the data. Whose stock is rising? Whose graph is falling? Track India's political stock exchange. Unmatched, unmissable, Data analytics, the only show on news TV where numbers do the talking. India's most credible poll tracker, the Political Stock Exchange, with Rahul Kanwal only on India Today.
Presented by JK Tyre, Desh Ka Tyre. Co-presented by New Seltos with Kia Connect. Tech is now badass.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. This is your prime-time destination. News, newsmakers, talking points. Our big talking point, is there a plot at the moment to target trains in the country? Train sabotage charge backed by proof? We'll be telling you more on that story in a moment. Also among my special guests tonight, the man who hopes probably to become the next Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Omar Abdullah, will be joining me in an exclusive interview from my trip in the valley. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. Manipur is on the boil once again. Protests turned violent in the capital Imphal. 5-day internet shutdown imposed. Schools, colleges to be shut for 2 days. Rapid action force is now deployed. Doctors remain on the warpath against the Mamata Banerjee government in West Bengal. Junior doctors defy the Supreme Court's return to work diktat. Bengal government reaches out, but doctors stand firm. Sack the health secretary first and the police commissioner. Rahul Gandhi triggers another storm in the United States, claims anti-Sikh bias by the Modi government. BJP hits out at the leader of the opposition, rakes up 1984 anti-Sikh riots. Another train derailment bid averted, this time in Rajasthan's Ajmer. Cement blocks placed on the railway tracks. An ISIS link emerges to the Kanpur train plot. Centre claims 18 train sabotage cases recorded since the 1st of August. Shocking hit and run by a luxury car driven by a Maharashtra BJP chief's son injures 2 in Nagpur. His son fled the scene. 2 accused arrested so far. Devendra Fadnavis backs the BJP state chief. Baramulla MP engineer Rashid granted interim bail by a Delhi court. He was arrested under the stringent UAPA, will be released until October 2nd to campaign in the Jammu and Kashmir polls. Another man-eater wolf nabbed in Uttar Pradesh's Barej. 5 of the 6 predator wolves now captured under Operation Bhedia. 35 villages remain on high alert. Another crisis for the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi. BJP now wants president's rule, claiming governance paralyzed with Arvind Kejriwal lodged in jail. AAP claims a bid to topple the government. Monsoon mayhem rages on in Andhra Pradesh. Vijayawada inundated by torrential rainfall. Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu takes stock of the flooded areas. But the story that's breaking at the moment, an Indian Air Force officer has accused the senior wing commander of rape. The female officer has alleged rape harassment at a Jammu and Kashmir Air Force base and filed an FIR at the police station, claiming that no action was being taken. The police have now booked the wing commander for aggravated rape under Section 376(2) of the Indian Penal Code. The Indian Air Force has ordered an internal inquiry after the female flying officer alleged rape, mental harassment and continuous stalking by a wing commander of an Air Force station in Jammu and Kashmir. Joining me now for the very latest is Shivani Sharma. She tracks the Defence Ministry for us. Shivani, what more details can you give us on what exactly has happened?
Rajdeep, this case has come in light when a case has been registered in the Badgam police station of Srinagar, where a female flying officer of the Indian Air Force has alleged rape, sexual harassment and also stalking onto a senior wing commander of the same Air Force station. And this incident is of 31st of December 2023. That means it's not a fresh incident, but the FIR has been registered now, and the FIR has been registered under the section 376 clause 2. That means that this was an aggravated rape. That means this has been done and committed by a person in authority. So in this case, this was a young flying officer, a female flying officer, and the wing commander happens to be a senior to her. They were, the statement in the FIR says that this incident happened after a New Year's party on 31st of December. And
but
now
then why?
Has said
but then
that,
Shivani,
the Air Force
if it happened on 31st of December, why is the FIR being filed now in September? I read a report that suggested that the officer claimed that no one was acting on it within the services. That's why she went to the police.
Rajdeep, the Air Force has not given out the details onto what action it took, but when we asked, responding to our question, the Air Force has said that an internal inquiry has already been ordered. The investigations are going on, and also that the Budgam police has already approached the Indian Air Force station there in Srinagar regarding this whole investigation, and the Indian Air Force says that it will be cooperating in the investigation. It's a big question that why it took so long for the FIR to be lodged. Did the female officer did not she approached the police late, or was she waiting for an internal inquiry to get into action? So that needs to be checked and answered by the Indian Air Force. But as of now, the investigations have already started within the Air Force and by the police also in Budgam.
Okay, Shivani Sharma joining us with that very latest, that unfortunate piece of news there coming in at the moment. The police have now booked the wing commander for alleged rape, is what we are learning. An IF officer accusing her wing commander of rape at a station in Jammu and Kashmir. Let me turn from another piece of breaking news and more troubling news that's coming in, this time from the state of Manipur, where tensions have heightened. Schools and colleges now will be shut for 2 days. A 5-day internet shutdown has been imposed. Manipur University has cancelled the PG-UG university exams, and the NIA is now to probe the drone attacks that have taken place in Manipur in the past 10 days. Drone and rocket attacks have taken place there. I'm joined by our correspondent Ashutosh Mishra, who's one of the few correspondents who's there live at the moment there in Impal. Ashutosh, is the situation coming under control? Curfew was in place. We are seeing images this morning of protests taking place. We'll play more of those visuals at the moment, but is the situation now calm and under control or not?
If you're asking about situation under control, yes, it is under control, but it is calm, absolutely not. This remains highly tense. And Rajdeep, let me tell you,
is yet again back on the same situation. In the foothill areas, in the peripheral areas of the valley and the hills, there's a violent clashes between the communities. Number of people, nearly 11 people have been killed so far from September 1. There are reports of a drone, the aerial bombing through drones, the long-range rockets are being fired. And here in the valley, what we are seeing, the intensified protest by the local groups. In fact, the Kokomi, the largest group, has even issued a warning for the central forces, either act against the Kuki insurgents or leave Manipur. So amidst of all this, they have been trying to gherao the governor's house, the CM house. Today, when the protest started, that also led to the stone pelting on the police. In fact, the protesters overpowered police in a way that they had to even retreat. So it was a violent clashes, and literally amidst of all that, the government, the curfew relaxation that was issued for nearly a year now, that has been withdrawn. So that simply means now there's a curfew in place, and exactly right behind me, one of the most busiest road is totally deserted. Even the university exam for the undergraduates and postgraduates have been cancelled. The internet has been suspended across the valley. In the meanwhile, the top police officials have said the reports of drone, they are collecting scientific evidence, forensic evidence, and they will seek NIA probe to ensure a higher level probe. But amidst of all that, this looks like situation escalating, and because of the anticipatory and the preventive measures are being taken, including curfew imposition and internet bans, it all itself indicates that this could be just a beginning what we are seeing in Manipur.
Okay, we'll keep a track on what's happening. In fact, Ashutosh Mishra is reporting from Manipur, the latest story being the casualty in the violence that's taken place between Meitei and Kuki communities is a former soldier who was allegedly abducted and killed after he crossed the so-called buffer zone between Churachandpur and Imphal, areas divided between the Kuki and the Meitei communities. Ashutosh Mishra has tonight's ground report.
Manipur on the boil. Students took out a protest march in Imphal on Tuesday over the escalation in hostilities between Meitei and Kuki communities. The protest turned violent as students' attempt to march towards the governor's residence was spoiled by the police.
The protest is escalating. Now the tear from the other side. Here you see the tear shells are being fired. The police is trying to contain and control the situation.
The Biren Singh government has imposed curfew in all the 5 valley districts of Manipur. Internet is banned in the state till Sunday.
We appeal to them not to indulge in violence, and it is very counterproductive. So we appeal to the students to do it in a peaceful manner. And some vested interest groups are instigating this. We are monitoring all these things.
The state is on the edge ever since fresh clashes between the Meitei and Kuki communities broke out this month, killing over 10 people from both sides. On Monday, the body of a former soldier was found in the valley near Segmai in Imphal West District. Lim Kholal Mate, a former Havaldar in the Assam regiment, was a resident of Modbang in Kangpokpi.
I just see the videos and I just know that.
Saw his picture, video.
A video tape of him dead from and then I just know that it was my father.
According to the complaint filed by the police, Lim Kholal Mate was kidnapped allegedly by the Meitei armed group Arambai Tengol on Sunday.
As per the FIR and as per the complaint, El Methi on the evening by mistaken crossed over the buffer zone area and he reached to the other side where he was allegedly abducted and beaten to death as per the FIR.
The two communities have set up checkposts near the buffer zone to control entry and exits.
अगर कोई कुकी नीचे चला गया मेते इलाकों में क्या होगा?
उन लोग वो माल डालता है ना, इसलिए हम लोग इधर चेक किया. हम लोग का आदमी भी इधर चेक किया है और मेते भी घुसना नहीं देता है. हम लोग भी उधर नहीं घुसता है.
The only solution now is the separate administrations. We have our own separate administrations. They have their own separate administration. Then only peace and peace will be prevailed. There is no other option at all. This is the only solution.
The current spell of violence has also seen drone and grenade attacks by alleged Kuki militant groups on Meitei villages. The Committee on Tribal Unity that represents Kukis declares they will defend their land and opposes the state government's proposal to take complete charge of security.
So the first point is anything that is to do with the state government of Manipur, the Kuki youths will not accept. That is one. And the other point is that in any eventuality of attack or atrocities that's meted us, we will respond in the same.
For the last 16 months, Meiteis have been mostly confined to the valley and Kukis to the hills. The divide between the two communities has only deepened with no signs of any healing. With Ashutosh Mishra, Bureau Report, India Today.
Troubling scenes there from Imphal, and more trouble because another train derailment attempt has been foiled. A day after an LPG cylinder, petrol bombs and matchsticks were found on a Kanpur train track, an attempt to derail a train in Rajasthan's Ajmer was thwarted after cement blocks were found placed on the railway tracks. There's a suspected involvement of the ISIS in Kanpur's train sabotage. More in this report. Take a look.
September 8, Ajmer in Rajasthan. September 8, Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh. September 4, Solapur in Maharashtra. India's trains are being targeted serially. A goods train in Rajasthan's Ajmer had a close shave after hitting massive cement blocks weighing 70 kgs, which were put on the tracks. Rajasthan government has formed an SIT to probe the incident.
इसमें मुकदमा दर्ज कर लिया गया है 173/24, 150-152 रेलवे एक्ट और 3 PDP एक्ट में। एसएचओज उच्च अधिकारी मौके पे हैं, बाकी टीमें गठित कर दी गई हैं इन शरारती तत्वों का पता करने के लिए। पता लगता है शीघ्र गिरफ्तारी भी की जाएगी।
The same modus operandi was used in Solapur on September 4, when a mammoth concrete slab was placed on the railway track. But loco pilot of the train fortunately saw the concrete and applied brakes in time, thereby averting a collision and saving lives. Meanwhile, sources say the anti-terrorism squad investigating the bid to derail Kalindi Express in Kanpur suspect the role of the Khorasan module of ISIS. In the Kanpur attack bid, a gas cylinder was placed on the track, but an alert loco pilot applied brakes on time, softening the impact. Kanpur police has questioned more than 100 suspects so far. At least 30 suspects have been taken into custody.
यूपी पुलिस की जो विभिन्न इकाई है, स्पेशल एजेंसीज, वो सभी लोग काम कर रहे हैं। आरपीएफ और आरपीएफ के साथ जितने भी स्टेक होल्डर्स है वो भी हमारे साथ है। कुछ लोगों को हम लोग चिन्हित किए हैं, बहुत जल्दी इसमें कार्रवाई होगा।
The government came out with data revealing that 18 cases of train sabotage have taken place since August 1st and 24 train attacks in just 2 years. Are terror groups trying to bleed India now using trains used by lakh of passengers daily? Bureau Report, India Today.
So let's raise some troubling questions at the moment. Is there a plot to target our trains? Is the sabotage charge that is being made now backed by solid proof? Should the government wait for the probe to be complete? Will hasty theories now only spread panic? What's the truth? Lalit Chandra Trivedi is former GM Railways, Chairman Rail Division India. We'll be joined shortly by Sudhanshu Mani, creator of the Vande Bharat Express. Ashok Kumar is former Uttarakhand DG. I want to come to you, Lalit Kumar ji, because 18 such incidents reported just in the last 6 weeks. Could it be a coincidence, or do you suspect that this is part of a wider plot?
Rajdeep, till such time the inquiry is completed. You see, in railways, the security of the tracks is primarily with GRP. With railway RPF force, there are two wings of security, RPF and GRP. RPF is for the protection of the railway property and GRP is for the law and order. So all these incidents come under state police, which has a wing of GRP under its control. Now the investigation and connecting the dots among the various, because they are spread over a bigger area from Maharashtra to UP and Rajasthan, so the role of NIA will also come in, because the state police role will not be possible for them to, GRP is a very skeleton force, and you see primarily in the railways, how do you see normally these obstacles are noted by the train driver. In fact, the very purpose of two crews exchanging all right signals when they cross each other, they certify to each other that there is no obstacle on the track. But what happens between the two trains, all these culprits can always find a gap of 15 or 20 minutes where they can put such obstacles.
No, but is it unusual, sir, to have 18 such incidents being reported in just the space of 5 weeks or not?
Certainly, it is unusual and it needs to be investigated and dots needs to be connected.
Okay, let me just take that to Sudhanshu Mani, creator of the Vande Bharat Express. Mr. Mani, are you also surprised at the manner in which these almost every week we are reporting a couple of instances where, whether it's a cement block today, LPG gas cylinder are being reported found on railway tracks that could cause potential huge amounts of destruction and derailment? Are you surprised?
No, okay, I'm surprised, but let me correct this list of these 18. If you have seen that list, you know, there are cases of juvenile criminality, of mischief makers trying to make YouTubes. There are cases of stone pelting on glass. There are cases of protests. All those are listed in that 18. So let's not go by the list. The recent two cases of the cement block and the LPG cylinder do appear to be serious. So I'm no one to say that it doesn't look like sabotage. First, because investigating agencies are looking into it. It is beyond the domain of railways. NIA is also looking into it apart from other investigating agencies. Let them do their job. I will put one caveat that in previous all such cases till now, we have not been able to establish one case of sabotage. We have to keep that in mind. So we will wait for their investigation. Then two more things, if you have time.
Go ahead.
Right from the time when Balasore happened and a recent accident in Gonda, railwaymen have a tendency to jump to point to sabotage. It is in a way trying to diffuse their own responsibility. I'm saying it with full responsibility. And, you know, nothing was found in Balasore. There was this furor about a mosque nearby and so on. It was not a mosque. That's what we found out. In Gonda, there was railway officials saying that they heard a loud noise. Loud noise can always happen when there is a derailment. That was also not found to be a case of sabotage, as the police indicated later on. So what I'm trying to say, this is also a case where there is a tendency now to diffuse the responsibility of railways towards sabotage. I'm not saying it is not sabotage. Let investigating agencies find out. And if they do find out that it's a case of sabotage or terrorism, then it's a very serious matter.
Okay, so you're saying don't jump to hasty conclusions just yet. Allow the investigation to complete. Ashok Kumar ji, former Uttarakhand DG, you worked at times with the railways. Is that a fear that there is panic setting in? If today the government is releasing details to say there are 18 instances, as Sudhanshu Mani pointed out, some of them could be miscreants, some of them could have some more diabolical agendas. Should we be more careful before immediately saying sabotage?
See, this exactly, immediately we cannot say, but we go by indications, we go by symptoms. So the indications of these two incidents especially are very, very dangerous. I mean, they all point out towards the sabotage theory. We cannot rule out the sabotage theory. Only thing is, finally, the outcome will have to be decided by the investigating agency. They will come out with some evidences, proofs.
Right.
But indications are like this, that why is there the cylinder is there, why the matchbox is there, why the explosive is there, and that also in a
Also what is being found, Lalit Chandra Trivedi, specific routes. We've seen a couple of instances close in and around Kanpur, and that is the worrying part. There could be some local gangs operating. That's all unclear at the moment. How soon can an investigation of this nature actually reach a conclusion, given how wide the railway network of this country is?
You see, most of the territory of the railways is not covered by CCTV. It's not like airport where each and every corner of the even the railway stations are not they're having gaps. They're not hermetically sealed like airports. So the security in railway premises, particularly beyond the railway station, what we call the wayside area, is really difficult. And the only institution we really depend for avoiding such cases are the gangmen, the patrolmen who are. And whenever the police gives us a lead that there are some vulnerable areas, they get some information that some terrorists or some such activities likely to be there, then we resort to track patrolling, security patrolling. There is also a case when such cases occur in large numbers in Naxalite infested areas. When during one of my posting, we used to run a goods train ahead of a mail express train. So as to avoid, so we have various institutional mechanisms to avoid.
No, but how easy is it? How easy is it to ensure that these tracks are sabotage free, given the large nature of our network? Is it possible to be completely foolproof?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Sudhanshu Mani, is that the worry? that as Lalit Chandra Trivedi, who's been a former GM Railway, says, in a country with a network as wide as ours, how do you ensure greater security against potential saboteurs?
Yes. So yes, potential saboteurs can really cause damage. Solace is that not many such cases have happened in last decade or more. That we have to bear that in mind. We keep shouting sabotage, but we don't find that. But if there is somebody bent upon doing that, then it's very difficult to protect it by railwaymen and railway patrolling. It has to be an intelligence-based effort, because you cannot just patrol the track in wayside station. Our patrolman goes, trackman goes once a day at night. Even police cannot keep on patrolling it. So it has to be intelligence-based, and that's why I'm saying it's beyond the domain of railways. It's a law and order or anti-terrorist kind of activity in which intelligence agencies have to really contribute.
But there is the larger worry, of course. I don't want to, do we separate this from the accidents that have taken place in recent weeks? There have been accidents or recent months, there have been accidents that have been troubling, so-called consequential train accidents, which are those that have serious repercussions. And I'm looking at 2016 now to 2022, 23. Every year, we are finding a fair number of these accidents. Should that be the real focus? Not all of them are linked to sabotage. Some of them are linked to derailments. And that should be equally troubling, surely, Mr. Mani.
No, let me correct you. If I'm not wrong, not even one of them is linked to sabotage, established sabotage.
That's right.
So it's not. So that's also important. So the safety has to be detached from this. These are worrying incidents. Let intelligence agencies and security agencies do their job, find the culprits. But the safety of railways is another matter which needs more focus, as we have discussed earlier in your program after those accidents. Kavach, artificial intelligence, improvement in track maintenance, funds are not a problem. So that needs, that's another focus area. I don't think we have to link it with this sabotage.
We have to separate the need for anti-collision devices like Kavach, which will guard against derailments, separate them from the suspected sabotage. Mr. Ashok Kumar, how long do you think an investigation of this kind would take? There's already now reports that ISIS is being suspected. The NIA will come into it. Should this be, should there be greater calm, as is being suggested by Sudhanshu Mani and even by our former GM, that let's be a little bit, Lalit Trivedi, a little calm. Ashok Kumar ji, am I right? That we don't need to jump to conclusions just yet and say ISIS is involved.
See, we don't need to jump to conclusions. That's very right, Mr. Sabdeep. But we cannot, be calm. If such things are happening, we have to be on the alert. We have to have our best agencies on the job.
How long would an investigation like this take in your view?
Sometimes it happens within 2-3 days, and sometimes it will take 2-3 months. It's all about how the case is cracked, how many leads we have.
But this whole thing of blaming ISIS instantly, we are still not clear where ISIS is coming. Do you really think ISIS could be involved in this?
See, I don't know. I cannot say as of now, because ISIS philosophy of lone wolf attack, that can point out to these things, but we cannot say as of now, because unless the investigation is over. Secondly, ISI has a track of having sleeper cells and masterminding such things. I was with SP Railways in 2000 in Moradabad, and in the whole belt we used to have 2-3 cases of this cutting of railway tracks. That time also, it was suspected that ISI modules could be there.
So you're saying there is a suspicion that ISI modules could be there, but as all our guests are warning, let's not jump to conclusions. That would only spread panic.
We cannot jump to conclusion unless there is a
fair
proof.
enough. And I think that's why we have to be very careful. Yes, these instances are troubling. They need to be investigated. Yes, Mr. Mani, a final word.
One last point. You see, the second accident of the concrete block has happened in a DFC section, which is only goods train. A serious terrorist wants to cause damage to human lives, So I'm still, again, not saying anything. Let investigating agencies find out, but it's unlikely that they would try to derail a goods train.
Okay. Point taken. I think there are very, very wise cautionary words there. I appreciate my guests joining me on that troubling story that we are reporting. Let's turn from there to our top political story. And once again, Rahul Gandhi making all the headlines. The leader of the opposition's visit to the United States continues to trigger storm after storm, this time over his allegation of an anti-Sikh bias in India under the Modi government. His statements have drawn huge flack from the BJP, which reminded him and the Congress of their role in the 1984 Sikh riots in Delhi. Take a look at what Rahul Gandhi really said and how the BJP responded.
The fight is about whether he, as a Sikh, is going to be allowed to wear his turban in India. Or he, as a Sikh, is going to be allowed to wear a kada in India. Or he, as a Sikh, is going to be able to go to Gurdwara. That's what the fight is about. And not just for him, for all religions.
At least in India, the only time when Sikhs have felt a certain anxiety or insecurity and faced an existential threat was when statements were made कि बड़ा पेड़ अगर गिरता है तो धरती हिलती है. This is as close a justification to targeting of minority communities as I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, let's turn then to our top election story. Election campaigning gatherings team in Jammu and Kashmir, which goes to the polls for the first time in 10 years next week. I was in Kashmir over the weekend where I spoke to the person who has been a former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir and may hope to become the Chief Minister again. But Omar Abdullah made it very clear that although he had earlier decided not to contest the polls, his decision eventually to contest from 2 seats is because he says his sole aim is to ensure Jammu and Kashmir gets its statehood again. He's not gunning for the chief ministership, but for statehood. Listen in to Omar Abdullah. So you're contesting the elections, Mr. Omar Abdullah, after all your protestations that until Kashmir is made a state again,
I never
you were
said
not
that.
going to contest.
I never said that.
You never said that?
I never put the context of state or 370.
Okay, can I quote, put a couple of quotes to you? 10 June, interview to PTI. No, I am not contesting the assembly elections.
No, I'm not saying
I will not fight a UT election. I'm absolutely clear on that. 7th August. No, I am not contesting. I have made it very clear. The CM of the once most empowered state. I can't see myself in a position where I have to ask the LG for appointing a peon.
A lot of inputs from people I don't know who reached out randomly by email, by message, conversations with colleagues. I realized that perhaps the position I took was wrong in as much as it was perhaps hypocritical.
So you've changed your mind?
Well, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be filing. How do I expect the people of Jammu and Kashmir to repose faith in an assembly that I'm not willing to repose faith in? This is not the assembly we want. But this is definitely a step towards the assembly that we want. The assembly that we want will flow from this one.
Because you've said in the past, in 2019, that it's a disempowered assembly. Now, more recently, you said it's a union territory and that's unacceptable. You're saying people have made you change your mind.
Well,
but are you really hopeful of change, that one election can change the ground realities in Jammu and Kashmir?
One election can change everything. A bad assembly election in 2014, which put the BJP and the PDP in power, changed everything for Jammu and Kashmir. One election in Delhi that gave the BJP the majority that they needed in 2019 changed everything for Jammu and Kashmir. Why should we assume that this election can't change things? Of course it will. We have commitments from people like the Prime Minister and the Home Minister on the floor of the House in Parliament saying that Jammu and Kashmir will be given back its statehood undiluted. We have commitments from the Government of India in the Supreme Court saying exactly the same thing. So as I said, this assembly is not the assembly we want, but the assembly we want will flow from this one.
Are you now saying restoration of Article 370 is no longer on the agenda?
Absolutely not. It is very much on the agenda. It's the first item that we've talked about in our manifesto. But we also realize that it's not going to come from this assembly. It's a long struggle. It's a struggle that is going to take time. It's a struggle that will probably require at least one change of government in the centre. So what we have promised people and what our manifesto has said is that we're going to keep the issue alive. We're going to talk about it. But statehood, definitely. And what I have said about a resolution from the J&K Assembly is not about a 370 or 35A or statehood. I've said that the Assembly should pass a resolution saying that we do not accept what was done to us on the 5th of August 2019, that the people were not a part of that decision. The ones who since 2019 have been doing nothing but telling the world that the people of Jammu and Kashmir are really happy with what happened on the 5th of August 2019, that life has got so much better and that there's nothing but unanimous approval for it. At least we'll debunk that once and for all.
Even if you were to become the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, would you agree that you will be a very disempowered Chief Minister?
The government gave no extra powers to the Lieutenant Governor. Those powers were already vested with the Lieutenant Governor. All the government did was to clarify or to codify how those powers would be exercised, given that they knew elections would be coming. But otherwise what they did is simply what was in the J&K Reorganization Act, which again is something that we don't agree with. But
that's right. So they have through the J&K Reorganization Act, as and when a new state assembly is set up, you will still be far more disempowered than you
compared
were.
To what? Well,
compared to pre-2019.
Well, obviously, that goes without saying.
So therefore, are you worried that the Chief Minister will be just a titular Chief Minister?
No. Well, initially, the powers of the Chief Minister will be a lot more limited than we'd like to see. But as I said, that we believe is going to be a very temporary phase because statehood and full statehood has to be restored to Jammu and Kashmir. If we don't get it willingly, we'll go to the Supreme Court.
Omar Abdullah, in your manifesto, you've also spoken about revival of the autonomy resolution that was passed in 2000 by your party when your father was the Chief Minister, which was rejected incidentally by Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government. Are you calling for a restoration of that autonomy? Because that again becomes a prickly issue. It involves whose flag is it? Is it the state flag? Is it the national flag?
It is our political ideology. It is our political agenda. We are not ready to surrender it. Our manifesto is to remind people that the National Conference is committed to its political ideology. We're not surrendering it. That said, I think it's a bit unfair for anyone to focus purely on two sentences or two paragraphs in a manifesto that touches upon every aspect of people's lives. No, I know the temptation for the wider audience in the rest of the country is to just focus on these political issues of the National Conference. But our manifesto goes much further than that.
The centre says, look, we've got J&K Bank back on track. This was a bank destroyed by the Abdullahs.
Absolutely not.
When they were in power.
Absolutely
not. They speak about tourism. Say, look, we had 21 million tourists last year. We are breaking all records. Think about what happened when the Abdullahs were in power. They'd say about, look at Kashmir, it's far more peaceful now. There was stone pelting that would take place when the Abdullahs were in power or the Muftis were in power. So there are two narratives. There's the narrative of the Abdullahs, there's the narrative of the BJP.
Well, no, I think it doesn't matter. This narrative is not of the Abdullahs. You are playing into the hands of the BJP when you do this.
Who, me?
Yes, you. When the questioning is all about one family versus a party, it's not. The National Conference is a political party that has received a mandate from the people in elections. So it is a National Conference government. It's not an Abdullah government. It's a PDP government. It's not a Mufti government. It was a PDP-BJP government.
We want to rid Kashmir in a way of family Raj.
By all means, try. Who stops them? They've tried their level best to destroy the National Conference after 2019 and so far seem to have failed miserably. Let's see what the people think.
Are you going to say nothing has changed for the good in the last 5 years?
Well, other than the fact that this government, through whichever means they have used, have effectively marginalized separatist voices, I am reluctant to give them credit for anything else. Because on the one hand, Kashmir has been what it is. You've still had violence, you've still had terror, you've had targeted attacks against minorities, you had an exodus of minorities for the first time after the early 90s. That is Kashmir. You've opened up a new front in Jammu. The elected government, when it comes here, is going to have a huge problem on its hands, restoring the situation in Jammu to what it was when we left it in 2014. The sort of attacks you see today in Kathua, in Samba, in Jammu, in Riyasi, in Doda, in Poonch, in Rajouri. These were things that almost never happened.
You and Rahul Gandhi, is it personal chemistry that's brought you together, or just because you all are desperate to defeat?
We had nothing
to defeat the BJP at all costs.
Rahul and I had nothing to do with the way this played out. It was really the sort of the leadership of the party after us that put this into place. The leadership of the Congress in Jammu and Kashmir with my colleagues, and then subsequently discussions when Mr. K.C. Venugopal and Salman Khurshid Saab and others came here.
Because the buzz in Delhi was that it is Rahul Gandhi who persuaded Omar Abdullah, no, Omar, you have to contest and lead this alliance. Not true?
No conversations with Rahul about the elections at all.
I saw that picture, you, Rahul Gandhi, Farooq Abdullah, Mallikarjun Kharge, you had a cup of tea like this, that's all?
Yeah, we had a cup of tea, we talked about everything that was going on in the country. Obviously there was, some talk about the general mood regarding elections, but there was no seat sharing discussion or agenda or stuff like that.
But is this alliance basically because you've realized that unless you all come together, it's advantage BJP, and that's what happened in 2014. Is that a wake-up call that divided you fall, united you have a half a chance?
Well, for us it was more about perception. For us it was important to put to rest this sort of story that some of our opponents sought to plant, that we have a secret alliance with the BJP. Particularly after a recent court case judgment in Srinagar. That was used as some sort of evidence of a secret understanding with the BJP. So for us to put that piece of gossip to rest once and for all, an alliance with the Congress was necessary. And of course, there will be benefits in terms of ensuring that in some areas the votes don't get split.
Is there chemistry on the ground between the workers? Or is there the usual tension that's going to take place if I don't get a ticket from one of the two parties, I contest as an independent?
There has been that fallout as well. There has been that in areas. But fortunately, we fought the recent parliament elections together in all 5 seats in J&K. So we do have recent experience of working on the same side.
But you kept your other old friend, if I may call her that, Mehbooba Mufti, out of this. You all were all part of the India Alliance. I remember last year seeing all of you together as part of the India Alliance, and now you've kept her aside.
Well, we haven't. She chose to stay away. She chose to put up candidates.
You didn't reach out to her. You didn't reach out to her.
Look, we are not the bigger party of the India Alliance. The Congress is. It's not our job to reach out.
Why do you think you lost the Lok Sabha elections of 2024? Has the National Conference lost some of its firepower, particularly in North Kashmir?
That election was fought on sentiment, pure sentiment.
And this election?
This is going to be more than that. That was...
What is more than that?
You had one person fighting that election whose sons went out and told people all of 2 things. Vote for my father, otherwise he's going to be hanged, which was a lie. And vote for my father because you have to bring him out of jail, which was also an exaggeration. Because you don't come out of jail by winning an election. If you did, then Arvind Kejriwal would not be in jail right now.
Your own quote, I may not even be allowed to appoint a peon, suggests to me that even if you become the chief minister, next chief minister, it's a crown of thorns, very different in a way to 2008.
I'm not aspiring to that office.
You're not aspiring.
I'm not aspiring to that office.
That's why you're contesting.
I'm not aspiring to that office. I'm not setting myself up for that office. I'm not thinking beyond the 8th of October. At this point in time, all I am interested in is ensuring a majority for the National Conference Congress Alliance.
When Rahul Gandhi tied up with Akhilesh Yadav, they were branded as UP ke ladke. What do we now call you and Rahul Gandhi? Kashmir ke ladke? Am I speaking to someone hoping to be the next chief minister? जब भी मैं ये सवाल पूछता हूँ, आपके चेहरे पे मुस्कुराहट आती है. You're supposed to be part of an India alliance, and they've left you out. It almost seems that they don't want to touch the PDP.
मैं अगर बीजेपी आपके पास आती है कि हमें सरकार बनानी है, उनको आपकी जरूरत पड़ती है, आप किस तरफ जाएंगे?
आप मुझे कह रहे हैं कि 5 साल पहले आप आइसक्रीम नहीं खा सकते थे लाल चौक में. Okay, from Kashmir, let's turn to Maharashtra, where we've seen another hit-and-run shocker last night. This time, a luxury car owned by the Maharashtra BJP chief's son. The Audi was seen ramming into multiple cars, injuring two. While the BJP's chief's son fled the scene, police have arrested two, except for Sanket Bawankule, the man who is the son of the BJP chief. Will the Maharashtra government swing into action in another hit-and-run case? Take a look.
An Audi car owned by Sanket Bawankule, son of Maharashtra BJP President Chandrasekhar Bawankule, was involved in a series of collisions late night on September 9th in Nagpur. The car with 3 occupants struck multiple vehicles as it sped towards Mankapur. At a T-point, the Audi collided with a Polo car. Passengers of the Polo chased and managed to stop the Audi, but the 3 individuals inside, including Bawankule, fled the scene. Later, 2 were arrested and no action was taken against Sanket.
मी कुठल्याही पोलीस यंत्रणेची आता बोललो नाही. त्यांना जे आढळेल सीसीटीव्ही मध्ये किंवा जे काही त्याच्यामध्ये गुन्हा दाखल होईल तो सर्वांसाठी न्यायासारखा असला पाहिजे. कोणी राजकारणाचा असो कोणी असो, पण मला जे वाटतं पोलिसांनी पूर्ण इन्क्वायरी केली पाहिजे, सीसीटीव्ही सर्व्हेलन्स तपासले पाहिजे आणि योग्य कारवाई केली पाहिजे.
शिवसेना UBT MP Sanjay Raut has alleged a cover-up.
और जो बड़े बाप के बेटे होते हैं उनका FIR में नाम तक नहीं है, और किसी पार्टी का नेता का ये लड़का होता तो अब तक फडणवीस की फौज हमारे पर इतना हमला कर देती. देवेंद्र फडणवीस, आप उस पद पर बैठने के लिए लायक नहीं हो.
Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has urged political leaders not to politicize the issue.
ऐसा है कि उसकी पूरी जांच पुलिस कर रही है और उसमें FIR भी पुलिस ने दाखिल किया हुआ है. उसके सारे तथ्य भी पुलिस ने सामने लाए हुए हैं. अब जिस प्रकार से उसके ऊपर राजनीति की जा रही है, मुझे लगता है वो गलत है. इस प्रकार से बावनकुळे जी को टारगेट करने का विचार रखते हुए उसके ऊपर राजनीति करना ये ठीक नहीं है.
The police has denied any political pressure on the investigation.
गुन्हा दाखिल करने में कुछ देरी हुई और कुछ छुपाया गया, ऐसा भी कहा गया.
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं. पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर किसी का नहीं है. जो कायदेशीर प्रक्रिया है पुलिस उसके ऊपर काम कर रही है.
As the investigation continues, all eyes are on how the case unfolds and whether the charges will be applied uniformly. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's hope the culprits are not allowed to get away. Let's take a break at this point. When we return, I'm afraid there's a festive shocker for those who are flying. Diwali airfares are exploding. We'll tell you more on the other side. You're watching the news today. News without the noise.
एक दोस्त है जिससे बात किए बिना हम रह नहीं सकते. बातें घंटों की हों या कुछ सेकंड्स की, ये दोस्त हमेशा हमारी बात सुनता है, क्योंकि हमारा सबसे अच्छा दोस्त भगवान ही तो है. मंगलदीप, दिल से करो बात भगवान के साथ.
India Today Conclave 2024, September 25th and 26th, Mumbai. Book your seat now. Visit indiatodayconclave.com.
Okay, let's turn to our Get Real India story today, and it comes with the festival season just around the corner. Domestic airfare prices are skyrocketing once again. While the centre says it's keeping a close tab, the government maintains there isn't much that it can do. Business Today does a spot check of return fares that you will have to pay around Diwali time. Here's a report with all the details.
For those planning to fly home for Diwali, get ready to pay out of your nose. The Festival of Lights is more than 7 weeks away, but skyrocketing airfare already dampening the festive mood. A visit to a travel agent or airline website only leaves you with the prospect of coughing up extortionary airfares. Business Today did a spot check of return fare on various routes for the dates Wednesday, October 30th to Sunday, 3rd November. Diwali falls on Friday, 1st November this year. On metro routes, fare on these days were anywhere between 50 to 200% higher. We particularly avoided the red-eye flights. Bengaluru to Delhi return fare start at a whopping 25,000 rupees, while Hyderabad to Delhi were a little more affordable, but at 15,500 rupees. Tickets from Chennai to Delhi and back, however, start at 23,000 rupees. Non-metro routes like Mumbai, Patna, Mumbai, also ludicrously expensive at 30,000 rupees. Mumbai Lucknow return starts at 18,000 rupees. Interestingly, those beginning their holiday earlier on October 26th Saturday have to dish out even more. For this week-long break, Mumbai-Delhi return tickets start at 20,000 rupees, while the cost of Bengaluru-Delhi return ticket rises to 27,000 rupees. Chennai to Delhi tickets for this weekend travel start at 27,500 rupees. The government has taken cognizance of the issue but is unable to do much.
प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हम सीमित नहीं कर सकते, ये ऐसा लॉ नहीं है कि हम उसको एक सीमित रखें, वो मार्केट ड्रिवन चलता है। तो इस तरह जब डिमांड बढ़ जाता है तो उनके वहाँ से भी थोड़ा एक दो बार हो जाता है, पर अभी तक हम मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं कि जब भी अगर कोई ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड प्राइस चला जाए अगर जहाँ पे भी नजर आता है कि कहीं से कुछ ज्यादा ही प्राइस बढ़ रहा है तो उस टाइम मिनिस्ट्री के तरफ से थोड़ा सजेस्टिवली जो करना होगा वो करेंगे।
It's not as if the travelers have other options available. Trains are already booked for the period, waiting list extending into hundreds. Indian Railways will be running some special trains, but the rush is so high that bookings on some route have already been closed. Experts blame the rise in airfare on the changing scenario in the Indian sky. Go Air, a major airline till 2 years ago, has folded wings. SpiceJet is financially strapped. 20-strong fleet of SpiceJet is literally flying on a wing and a prayer. The Indian airspace is now virtually a duopoly with Indigo on one side and the Tata-owned Air India Vistara combined and Air India Express AirAsia India on the other. And the spike in airfare is despite an 18% drop in aviation fuel prices this calendar year. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
Okay, flying is going to be risky business for your pocket this Diwali, but you could maybe take a flight with Elon Musk. His SpaceX has launched a rocket with a 4-person crew from Florida today. The mission's commander, Jared Isaacman, took off along with 3 others on the Falcon 9 rocket. Isaacman is a billionaire who's aiming to perform the first private spacewalk and venture further than anyone since NASA's Apollo moonshots. We leave you with those images. You stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Hi, I am AI anchor Sana, bringing the top headlines for you, presented by Motorola. Delhi Minister Atishi slams BJP MLA's letter to President, says wherever BJP doesn't win, it tries to poach MLAs and form a government through back door. Haryana CM Nayab Singh Saini files nomination from Ladwa seat ahead of assembly elections. Supreme Court stays defamation proceedings against Shashi Tharoor over remarks against PM Modi. Weather forecast now. Delhi, maximum 36 and minimum 27 degrees. Mumbai, maximum 29 and minimum 25 degrees. Kolkata, maximum 32 and minimum 26 degrees. Bangalore, maximum 27 and minimum 20 degrees. Chennai, maximum 35 and minimum 27 degrees. Hyderabad, maximum 27 and minimum 22 degrees.
%90 of India, OBCs, Dalits, Adivasis, they don't play the game. They're not even in the game, right? And that's really the elephant in the room. So the caste census is a simple exercise. Let's see how have the lower castes, backward castes, Dalits, how have they integrated into this system? What is it actually that they're participating in? And frankly, we've got the data. You know, we've done our homework, we've got the data. And I can tell you, out of the top 200 businesses in India, right, there's almost no ownership of 90% of the population. I can tell you that in the highest courts of the country, there's almost no participation of 90% of India. I can tell you that in the media, national media, anchors, journalists, there is zero participation.
presented by New Seltos with Kia Connect. Tech is now badass.
Co-powered by Eternally Remembered, Honored, Loved with Love Kalyan Jewelers. Veka, India's largest selling UPVC window.
কাশ্মীরকে বলবো তোমরা স্বাধীনতার জন্য তৈরি হও।
Radical Islamist released by Bangladesh threatens India.
খালিস্তিনি সেই শিখদেরকে বলবো তোমাদের সময় এসেছে, এখনই তোমরা স্বাধীনতার ডাক দাও।
Tells Mamata Banerjee to cut off ties with India. Asks Bengal Chief Minister to declare independence.
আমরা পশ্চিমবঙ্গের মমতা ব্যানার্জিকে বলবো আপনি বাংলাকে মোদির রাজত্বের থেকে মুক্ত করে স্বাধীনতা ঘোষণা করুন।
India helped free Bangladesh from Pakistan. Now Bangladesh under Muhammad Yunus threatens India. Bangladesh under Muhammad Yunus becoming Pakistan 2.0, top focus on India first.
So he's a hardline Islamist cleric from Bangladesh. His name is Jasimuddin Rahmani and he's the leader of a radical Islamist organization called Ansarullah Bangladesh Team. And he, weeks after being released from prison, because as long as Sheikh Hasina was Prime Minister, he was in prison on grave charges of abetting murder of bloggers and atheists and independent thinkers in Bangladesh. Now he's been released by the government of a Nobel laureate, Muhammad Yunus, Professor Muhammad Yunus, and he's calling for jihad in Jammu and Kashmir. Now the question remains, why is no action being taken against such elements when he's urging Mamata Banerjee to declare independence from India? Rahmani, he's actually given details. He's outlined a 5-point plan to cut India to pieces, to fracture India. He's a man who has links with that radical Islamist terrorist organization called Al-Qaeda. I'm Gaurav Sawant. We get you details because what does this mean for India-Bangladesh relations? Hindus are being targeted in Bangladesh and now these radical Islamists want to target India. But first, let's get started with the headlines on India First. Manipur on the boil once again. Protests turned violent in Imphal. 5-day internet shutdown imposed. Schools, colleges shut down for the next 2 days. Rapid action teams have now been deployed. Doctors remain on the warpath against Mamata Banerjee government in Bengal. Junior doctors defy the Supreme Court's orders to return to work. Bengal government reaches out, but doctors stand firm, demand that the